Oh, say, can you see? I don't know why I did that. What's up, guys? King Crisis here. Welcome to the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Welcome to part 3 on what Deku has cellular manipulation. Now, where we last left off, Class 1A was visiting Deku was in the hospital. But as Class 1A visits Deku in the hospital, Deku has just this eerie feeling the entire time as all of them are there. After everyone leaves, only Tsuyu remained, and Tsuyu remained in the hospital. And as Tsuyu and Deku talked a little bit longer, Deku seeing out of the corner of his eye, Inko. Devilish eyes staring at him. He didn't really immediately start shaking a little bit, but Tsuyu would grab him. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Deku would say, behind you! She proceeds to look forward, but nothing's there. She would look at Izuku confused. She says nothing's there. She says, no, I seen her, he would say. She begins to hold Deku. As Deku begins to shake violently, Deku begins to shake. He begins to panic, but she would grab him. It's okay. It's okay. Deku would start screeching as his skin slowly begins to turn to a dark purplish blue color. So you will hold Deku down. She proceeds to hug Deku. As she hugged Deku, Deku eyes will start glowing back to green as he begins to calm down. So you will tell Deku everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. No one's here. Nothing's here. It's just me and you. Me and you. She says to Deku that she's gonna stay the night. She's not gonna leave Izuku alone. Tsuyu does so. She stays there the entire night. But as she did, later on that night when Tsuyu was asleep, Deku never fell asleep. Inko appears and grabs him by the throat. He begins to try fighting back, but Inko would say, shh, you'll wake her, she would say. Listen, I know you don't want to make her afraid, but know this, kid. I'm always watching you. I'm always around because I love you, she would say. I love you so much. You're like a sweet baby boy to me, she would say. She begins to rub her hand down Izuku's face. You're beautiful. You're my beautiful boy. Izuku doesn't understand what she means because, in case you don't notice, Inko isn't in her Inko form. She's in her villain form. I ain't gonna lie, I forgot the name I gave her, but she's in her villain form, okay? So of course, Izuku doesn't realize that this is actually Inko. But she got this nigga terrified. She has him by the throat and she explains that she could kill him right now. Any given moment she really wants to, she could kill him. She explains she isn't too certain as to how that's gonna go concerning he absorbed the Nomu's powers. For now at least. She could tell that he fights for control. Every single time he uses that power, every single time he gets upset, the cells take over. She smiles. They don't belong in your body. You're not powerful enough to contain them. She'll say, smiling. You're pathetic. Inko says that she will pat Izuku on the head. But it'll be okay, my boy. My sweet, sweet boy. Inko then proceeds to turn around. She closes the door. And she would leave. But the entire time he's in the hospital, Izuku's paranoid. He believes that Inko's there. He believes that Inko's watching. He believes that Inko is preparing to attack. He's paranoid. He doesn't think he's safe under any type of circumstances because, well, it's hard to believe so. After all, Inko's always there. Apparently, she's always been there. Izuku, he just doesn't feel safe. He feels like no matter what, Inko's watching because so much time of his life, Inko has always been there. Inko has always been watching him. She's always been playing in his ear, preying on his downfall. Inko's just there. No matter what he tried, no matter how hard he wanted safety, no matter how hard he wanted to feel like it was okay, Inko Midoriya, or not Inko as he knows her, okay? He doesn't think it's Inko. He doesn't know that it's Inko. But that lady was always there. For now, her name is going to be called Vanquish. I'm going to write that down in my notes. But Vanquish is always there. She's always there. Vanquish, Vanquish, Vanquish. She's always there. Vanquish is always watching Izuku. So, Tsuyu stayed at the hospital with Izuku the entire time. Izuku never mentioned to Tsuyu the fact that Vanquish was even there. He made sure not to mention it. But he had a feeling that, well, Tsuyu was gonna find out eventually that Vanquish was practically always there. He cries. I say cries. He cries that night. Eventually, Izuku makes it out of the hospital. And when he does, he will return to his hut at the beach. But Tsuyu will come down. She brought Izuku food. She brought Izuku soap. She sometimes would bring him a bucket of water because Izuku just refuses to stay in her home. Suyu doesn't understand why, because she's offering Izuku a place to stay, but Izuku just explains it's for her own protection. He expressed that the villain that was there, she's after him, and he expresses that he wants her to be safe. He's afraid. But Suyu will hug Izuku, explaining that she's not afraid of that lady. Izuku will tell her to open her mouth. She does. He then points towards the scar on her tongue. She did that to you. And he doesn't want her to hurt her again because he truly does love her. She's like the only friend he's ever had. Tears pour down Izuku's eyes. Suyu will hug Izuku. The two of them sat there in a moment, hugging each other. Izuku just cried. Suyu cried with them. She doesn't understand why, but Izuku breaking down was causing her to break down. As this happened, red markings formed on Izuku's body, forming across his arms, his legs. His teeth slowly began to sharpen, but they retracted. The markings vanished. Suyu made sure Izuku was calm. He was held down. Suyu will kiss Izuku on his forehead, but from there she got up and she walked away. Deku watched Suyu walk away. He was stuck on her. He couldn't stop looking at her. He begins to smile, feeling a comfort just overcome Izuku, a comfort like no other. He thinks he'll do anything for her. Anything. Suyu walks away and makes it into her home. But later on that night, Suyu came back where it appears to be carpet. He looks at her confused. She explains that one of her rooms had carpet in it. She never really liked it because the floor underneath it was so much better. She straightened up the floor underneath the carpet and she took the carpet out. She explains that she's going to give it to Izuku. I mean, he's going to put it around the bottom of his home. After all, at this point in time, Izuku has learned that he was able to make the tree roots grow out perfectly to become a floor, a perfectly good floor at that. She placed the carpet down, kneaded the carpet into the floor, where from there, she explains that Izuku's home is perfect now. He isn't going to have to worry about the smell anymore because, well, there's no longer going to be any sand getting inside. Izuku smiled. He hugged Suyu as, in a moment of awkwardness, he kissed her. Suyu froze as she kissed Izuku back. They would then smile at each other as Suyu would tell Izuku that she'll see him at school tomorrow. They got up, walked away. That entire night, Izuku and Suyu texted. They called. Izuku had a portable charger, of course, because his home doesn't have electricity quite yet. Probably, well, not even probably, it's never going to because UA dorms are going to happen. But he had a portable charger, he had things that relied on electricity. He had them. He had several portable chargers, all portably charged, and even when he didn't, he had Wi-Fi from Suyu's home, so he was okay. He was perfectly fine. Suyu would eventually make it downward the next morning. She wakes Izuku up, or from there, he gets up, finally being time for school to begin. School will start. When they make it into class, as Al explains, the things may have happened there, but those things are over with now. And it's now time for the UA Entrance Sports Festival, he would explain. As he explains this, Class 1A eventually tries leaving out of their class just for their class to be blocked off by the other classmen. Deku sees this, Bakugo sees this, and of course the rest of the class see this. The other class are here to scope the scenery out, and of course, the interaction between Bakugo and Shinso still ends up playing out because, well, it's Bakugo. Bakugo talks crazy to the other class, but Deku would straight up tell Bakugo he needs to calm down. They're not their enemies, not yet at least, he would explain. Izuku proceeds to bow down before them, apologizing for Bakugo's actions. As Bakugo begins to tell Izuku to shut the hell up, you fucking nerd, they don't need to be apologized to, Deku then proceeds to grab Bakugo by his collar. Look, I don't have time for your bullshit, do you understand me? He would say, shut your mouth. Just because they're not in one, it does not mean they're weaker than us, do you understand me? He would say, shut the hell up being a bastard for once in your fucking life. Shut up, Deku would say. As he says it, Deku's eyes glowed golden. As Bakugo sees this, he's confused, but he felt the grip on Deku get so much tighter as Deku did this. Bakugo would remain silent. The entire crowd seeing what Deku just did, they're stunned. Bako would say, I'm sorry, man. Alright, dude, I'm sorry. Deku proceeds to drop Bakugo, and as he does so, they would say, "Jeez," or is he just a crash out? Bako watches as Deku walks away. He says, "No, he's never like that. Something's wrong with Izuku." He would say to, like he said, and the class heard him just say Izuku, and then like people when they are like, "Oh, he said his name." So you're seeing Deku walk off. She would follow after Deku. And then they would say, "What was that?" She would say, Deku would say, "I'm so sick of him being an asshole." He would say, "All my life he was such an ass." He would say, "God, I got so sick of that. I just snapped there." He turns and looks at her. He's okay though. She hugs him. Izuku will hug her back. We cut towards the League of Villains base. Ugh. I got him real fucked up. He just crashed out on one of his little friends. Aoyama told me all about it. Hold on. Let me rehearse the call. Let me call him real quick. Aoyama the call. Girl, Izuku just crashed the fuck out. I mean, like, he grabbed Bako by the throat. He said he was gonna beat his ass. Like, girl, I was scared. She's like, Aoyama, you sound real zesty right now. He said, "That's the point. Bitch, I'm gay. The fuck?" Wait, you're coming out. Wait, you are? Shigaraki then would turn. You didn't realize that? Bro's sparkly. What straight dude gets sparkly? As was said, Inko's brother was sitting in the kitchen cutting up some food. He then walks out. Hey, don't nobody give a fuck about that dude. He would say, simply put, do any of us care about Aoyama? I mean, no. Aoyama on the other hand, "Fuck you, nigga," he would yell. And she would say, "Fuck you, bitch ass nigga." And then Inko said, "Okay, after calm down, guys. Calm down. Belief, he looks forward towards calm down, people." Okay? He smiles. This is very important that everyone here is powerful. Like, I know how my son just crashed out. He's not your son. Everyone here has and her brother would say at the same time. Inko them say, "Shut up, it's my son." I say it's my son. You guys make weaponry. I raised him. Raised him. You did nothing for him. You sat there, watched him, and made him do shit for you. He was damn nearly your slave. On their own. Using their own gadgets until you crashed out one day. For others, Inko says, "Well, I wanted to use that because for themselves. Plus, I didn't think he had a quirk at the time. Of their own. He hid that bitch from me pretty well. Think about you stalked him. You knew he had a quirk." But he says, "Yeah, think about y'all remember this island from the first movie. Bold enough to he says, think about that island. Expressing the technology that they have Inko there. Say, is able to create it doesn't matter. She said, "Your island." I said, "It's my son." He expressed it. So it's my motherfucking son. They'll be capable. Did I go question that? Everyone here. Everyone in their own way. Inko's emotions are taking over. Some people have attitudes. He would say, "Some people have my fucking child." She would say, "But okay, sure it is. We're all capable of being heroes." I never said it wasn't. You just Inko and the others watched this. So corny, bitch. Inko would say, "Say it to my face." Did you teach him? Inko stands up and walks towards. You walk towards Inko. Two of them would stare each other down. Nothing like that. That's too fucking corny. You don't want the smoke. She would say, "Vanquish." I want all the smoke. She would say, "Don't let anyone look down on you." He would say, I'm pretty sure I gave them some black ass people. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't know if I did this in the third part I recorded, but time skip is not. If not, because I don't remember, but you know, with Deku, in like having everyone in the crowd become hyped up and happy. All the other people who actually seen Deku crash out there, they're like, I don't know. Fuck it, that's good enough though. Turbo. Something off time skip. But the test was Deku. Now, Deku has to walk up the stage. Deku was he's told he snatches up Froppy and he flies off. Everyone's seen her, they're just like, wow. But to the shock of first place in the entrance exams, Deku not because I'm better than all of you. He created a massive but because wind of I put in the time. That is because I didn't hold anything back. Let me explain. I didn't underestimate the opponents I was going to all the incorrect cells of the Noble. Everything cell that wasn't supposed to be within the original body of the Noble. I did not win because of that. I won because the Noble had I would be super strength, monsters, regeneration, shock absorption. Okay, there's three crazy. Do not underestimate. Okay, and it's not basic regeneration. It has insane regeneration, insane super strength, and insane shock absorption. Oh my god, it's glitching. Deku flew off. His strength is already devilishly enhanced. Okay, his strength and speed insanely enhanced. So the force that he unleashed when he flapped his wings were much more than he was expecting. So Deku zoomed off, and with Deku zooming off, Inko and the others watching are like, wow, he's fast. Deku makes it straight to the finish line with him and Froppy both being tied for first place. He then would smile, looking at her. So, I guess we both got first place. They didn't want to say, with Izuku Midoriya and Froppy. Well, Tsuyu Asui being tied for first place, we're going to be placing them underneath one team, they would say. And this one team will hold the 1 million headband point. If you were to take the 1 million headband from either Tsuyu Asui or Izuku Midoriya, your team will immediately advance into the finals. President Mike would say. They hearing this, they would hand a pink ribbon towards Tsuyu and a red ribbon towards Izuku. This of course being the 1 million headband points. With this being said, Izuku looks towards the headband. He will smile, admiring it. Okay, he would say. He has a little grin across his face now. Bet. Deku proceeds to start jumping up and down, beginning as he begins to come up with a plan with Tsuyu. As this happens, Tsuyu would say, "You ready? For sure?" Deku would smile as he begins to show her a little slime coming off his body. She would say, "What the fuck?" Deku then would smile. No, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I learned how to do this a while back, he would say. She don't say, "What is it?" He didn't explain. It's like her quirk, the slime that she emits off her body, you know, that helps her camouflage. Deku says, "Yeah." He didn't explain, well, he can do the same thing. He explained he can also use this to make people slip off of him. So if you're going in for a punch, your punch could slip straight off of him. She's like, "What? How the fuck does that even work?" Deku just shrugs his shoulders, expressing that he doesn't know, it just happens. This causes her to smile though. Fine, she would say. And we now time skip. Now, with Deku time skipping, I mean, with the time skip happening, damn. The teams will be Deku, Tsuyu, Tsukiyomi, Kaminari, and Kirishima. This being Deku's team. Bakugo's just gonna have a team of a bunch of randoms, okay? He's still gonna win, of course, because it's Bakugo. But the test will begin, and as soon as the test began, Deku would immediately transform into his gigantic dog form, letting off a humongous roar, with his headband being tied around his ear. As this happened, Deku rushes forward, and he starts swatting at other teams. Several people would jump backwards, and immediately they begin to evade Deku, because he's a gigantic freaking monster. As this happens, Deku proceeds to let off a roar. As he roars, Deku would rush forward. Mind you, his entire team is on his back, so Deku's all good. He then proceeds to transform as he would morph into his giant bird form. He flies upward into the air. As from there, Deku then proceeds to flap his wings, creating a massive burst of wind that throws all the other teams back and off their feet. As it happens, Tsukiyomi would send Dark Shadow down, as Dark Shadow would grab all of their headbands, swiping them up. Deku and his team then proceeds to just watch as Deku would morph back into his dog form, but this time around his dog form had wings, as he would land onto the ground, creating a massive shockwave. The dog form then would sprout massive claws as the form would change from being Izuku's natural green color to a dark black color. The dog then proceeds to straight up tell them, "Get off of its back." They're confused. He says, "Do it now." They got off of Izuku's back, as in Dark Shadow proceeds to cover the rest of Izuku's squad, as Deku proceeds to jump into the air and slam his paws back down onto the ground, creating a massive shockwave that knocks all the other teams back. As that proceeds to happen, Deku will morph back into his human form, but they realize his skin is dark. And those from class, when they realized that Izuku's resembling the Nomu, Deku took steps as he boom and took out every single person there. Well, not every person, but he took out a majority of the people in front of him, taking their headbands. He and his team then will turn, as Deku then just starts wasting time. He would take Tsuyu's headband, wrapping on himself. As he he would grab Tsuyu, would fly high into the air. As from there, he just stayed there, holding Tsuyu. Tsuyu holding against Deku, she begins to feel something slightly press up against her. She slowly looks down. Deku says, "Ignore it, ignore it, ignore it." Instincts. She doesn't say, "Okay." She just completely ignores Deku's obvious, you know. Yeah. Anyways, as this happens, we now with time skip. With Deku's team being declared the winners, and Deku's team obviously enough having first place, we're now going to time skip. There's going to be a pretty huge change here. Bakugo isn't going to fight against Uraraka. No, that's going to be Todoroki. He's going to fight against Tsuyu. Oh boy. We're going to cover Deku versus Shinso first. Deku walks to the ring. Shinso just begins to talk about his quirk and how perfect Deku's life was. Deku tells him like his life was shitty. But as he talks, Shinso places him underneath his control, tells him to walk out of the ring. But as Deku goes blank, suddenly Deku's whole body bulks up in size. His eyes go blank as he transforms into his Nomu form. Shinso seeing this, his eyes would widen. What the fuck? He would question. As this happens, Inko watching on would say, "Get him." And as soon as she says, "Get him," Deku's body, that which already wasn't moving, ran at Shinso. And her eyes would widen. She can control him still. She looks towards Shigaraki. We can still control the boy when he uses the Nobu's powers. This causes Inko to smile devilishly. If that's the case, he'll have to expel those cells, they would say. The boy isn't aware of that quite yet. We can use this to our advantage. As this happens, Shigaraki would close his eyes as he proceeds to activate his link with the Nomu. Realizing that the link is still there, he would enter into Izuku's mindscape. Yes, here's how it's gonna work. It's gonna work similar to that of a Vestige world. The link in between Shigaraki and all of his Nomus work just like a Vestige world. He appears in there, wrapping his arm around Izuku. Look at you, my little brother, he would say. Kill him. Kill the purple-haired boy. Show no mercy. No, you can't kill him. Beat him. Break him. Make him never want to be a hero. Show him just how dangerous the hero road really is, he would say. As this was said, Izuku in his normal form would look upward. He cracks his neck as he proceeds to backhand Shinso. Shinso is thrown across the ring, where from there the Nomu would vanish, appearing right in front of Shinso. Shinso looks forward, but Deku sends a brutal punch into his face. Everyone in the crowd watching this are stunned as cracks were heard. The Nomu proceeds to pick up Shinso. He throws him into the air, jumping upward, and then proceeds to slam him back onto the ground. As this happens, the Nomu starts walking forward. As it rushes forward, it proceeds to immediately headbutt into Shinso. It then starts kneeing Shinso repeatedly before going in. It bites Shinso's arm. Blood begins to pour as the Nomu picks him up and throws him. The Nomu then will say, "Good, good." The Nomu runs forward. He proceeds to punch Shinso over and over and over and over again to the stomach, shattering all of Shinso's ribs. The Nomu proceeds to grab him. It lifts him into the air, throws him upwards, as it then proceeds to swallow him down like a bug. Shinso hits the ring, unconscious. As that happens, the Nomu comes running forward before it freezes in his tracks. As suddenly, Izuku regains control. And when he sees this, he panics. Waking up, he immediately sees the brutal state Shinso's in. He doesn't know what just happened. He doesn't remember anything. Izuku looks around confused, realizing he's still in the ring, realizing Shinso's in a horrible state. He rushes forward towards him. Shinso, who's unconscious, isn't aware of anything, bro's just done for. Deku proceeds to immediately start healing Shinso, realizing that the damage done to him was crazy. He begins to heal him more and more and more. As it happened, several medics would rush inside, all having healing quirks. But as they rushed inside, all men would jump down, along with several more pros. The look just says, "Have you lost your mind, kid?" Deku would say, I didn't do anything. I don't remember anything. He would say, holding his hands up, swearing. All Might looks towards Izuku, realizing those cells. He proceeds to grab Izuku, immediately placing quirk counseling cuffs on him. He would tell him, "It's okay. You're not in trouble. You're not in trouble." He would say, "Okay? You're not in any type of trouble. Trust me, kids. You're not in trouble." All Might would say. He looks towards all the pros. "I got this. Get out of here. Now." All the other pros would walk away, and as they walked away, Deku proceeds to vanish, and they're stunned. He disappeared. All Might would immediately bring Deku into Nezu's office. "Nezu, we didn't defeat the Nomu. I didn't defeat the Nomu. Izuku did. Izuku, how did you take down that creature?" Deku looked forward. "I absorbed it. Everything that was in that man's body that wasn't supposed to be there, I absorbed it. I took it all out. I took the cells into myself." "Izuku, do you know how to expunge those cells?" Izuku will shake his head no. "He fights for control, often." All Might would sigh. "Kid, you're not allowed to participate any further into the sports festival." Deku's like, "What? Why? Look at what you did. Well, it wasn't even you, but those cells within your body, the League of Villains still can control it. They can still control that monster within you. It's either you learn how to fully control it, or you expunge it," you'd say. "But they can still control that monster, which means that if you were to lose control again, they can still control you." Deku would say, "Well, what if I split the power?" All Might looks at him intrigued. "What do you mean if you split the power?" Izuku explains, "The power was in the Nomu. There's 3 specific powers that were given to me after I absorbed it. What if the only reason they're able to control it is because all of its power is together? I would say, if you think that'll work, then do it. He would say, yes. I believe that would work, theoretically, Izuku would say. But is Shinso okay? Is that kid okay? That's all I'm worried about right now. I don't care about the monster. I can suppress it as long as I'm conscious. As long as I'm conscious, I can suppress it. So when you sleep, what happens? Nothing. I'm still able to suppress it. How? Izuku would shrug his shoulders. Oh no. Homemade would sigh. Shinso's in the hospital, kid. You managed to heal a great deal of the damage, but the kid is still unconscious. Several heroes are currently working on him. You healed almost everything, kid. You have one of the best healing powers I've ever seen, All Might would say. Echo would say if he can expunge that power, he looks towards All Might. He's thinking that he could just give him the power. All Might would say no. The power of that beast was in his hands. If the League were to gain control over All Might, it'd be too dangerous. Izuku then would say that he wants to expunge it, but he said he doesn't know what will happen if he expunges it. Those cells could just take form into the beast all over again. All Might explains that he's certain he was powerful enough to take it down. Izuku explains true, but he didn't want All Might to kill the guy inside. Those cells could either just vanish or the beast could die. All Might would explain to Izuku that he has time. Izuku would say, thank you. As in, we will wait. The matches will play out as they did in the original time. The difference is, though, Bakugo now fights against Tsuyu. And Bakugo does Tsuyu in the most horrendous way possible. Bakugo beats Tsuyu within an inch of her life. Deku watches it. He says, you stupid nerd! You first that little brat! He just beats her saying, your little boyfriend can't help you. As Deku sees this, he begins to get angry. The Nomu side begins to take control. All Might and Nezu who are watching realize this. All Might proceeds to immediately knock Izuku out. As this happens, Bakugo just holds Tsuyu up and he hits her with a ruthless explosion to her gut. Tsuyu coughs up as her tongue shoots out. Bakugo grabs her tongue and he proceeds to slang her all around by it. Bakugo then launches an explosion, grabs Tsuyu's face as he uses his other hand, mind you, they're mid-air, and he uses his hand pointing backwards towards the sky to send him exploding down to the ground. He then, once he slams her head into the pavement, launches an explosion off of her face, causing a great deal of burns to fuel onto Tsuyu's face. Bakugo laughs. He then proceeds to kick Tsuyu straight out of the ring. Bakugo is now declared the winner. Bakugo holds his hand up and the crowd begins to boo him, but Bakugo shows no sign of care. I showed that brat, he would think. Now that frog bitch would know that that tongue could only be used on me and not on that fucking bastard. As he proceeds to walk off, we now time skip. Deku wakes up. And when he wakes up, All Might tells him Tsuyu's okay. She's okay. He explains to Izuku that he's going to be meditating. His intern is going to be with him. Izuku turns forward towards a pro hero looking there. My name is Energon. Every day I have to suppress my nuclear energy, he would explain. Every day I have to learn how to control said energy that flows through my body. He explains that he's one of the most powerful heroes on the planet. He's Egypt's #1 pro. He explains that his power gives him the ability to control energy, and the energy is almost an infinite source of energy throughout his body. He has to constantly suppress said energy because if said energy is released, he could destroy a continent, or if not the world. He explains. He begins to meditate with Izuku, and during this time period, Izuku trained with said hero. Learning, Izuku would allow the Nomu power to take control on several occasions as Energon fought off against it. And surprisingly enough, he absolutely dominates the Nomu. Izuku, day after day, time after time, during his internship, he trained with him. Okay, Ida still crashes out. Stain still goes after Ida. But sadly enough, due to Izuku training, he isn't able to come help him. Okay, so sadly enough, Ida does in fact die, and Stain does get away. Actually, I'm being a little dramatic. Ida gets his ass kicked, okay? Stain permanently injures him, giving him the same injury he gave his brother. He wants the Engineering family to realize that none of them are capable of taking him down. When Deku finds out Ida's in the hospital, this brings an even bigger deal of anger towards Deku. Deku's all the way in Egypt. He isn't able to help anyone. Focusing and meditating all of his time on suppressing the Nomu, Deku realizes that it's impossible. He explains that the Nomu cells are literally controlled by the League. So he decides that he's going to expel it. Training with Energon, he learned how to expel the Nomu cells on his very last day. And Deku completely expelled the beast within him, completely getting rid of the Nomu's power and influence over Deku. But after Deku did this, instead of him being conscious, instead of him remaining stable, he passed out. We're pushing events back a great deal of time, okay? Deku's internship and the entire internship arc, I'm gonna push it back 3 months, okay? So he, at this time period, is gonna have the Nomu cells within his body for a total of 4 straight months, okay? So Izuku was unconscious, and he woke up, and when he did, Izuku felt power, a power like no other coursing throughout his body. He realized that he can feel the Nomu cells, but he also realized something very important. They aren't the same. It's almost like a copy of said cells. We cut on over towards the league. Fuck! They would say, the cells are broken. They're no longer. I no longer have a connection to them. They would say, the kid expelled them. Inka would say, she rolls her eyes. No matter. I'll show that damn boy how it's done. As Inka would stand up. As he proceeds to walk off, Turbo would say, no, he's mine. Inka would say, are you gonna give him a little lesson, brother? She would smile. Yes, I am. He stands upward. Where's the boy? He's on the plane. Inka would say, I can smell it. Fine. Turbo will walk forward as he flies into the air. As soon as he does, Inka would give him the exact location, her tracker still being implanted in Izuku's neck. Bet. Turbo flies off, flying right in front of the plane mid-air. The plane suddenly will stop in its, well, not really stop. I'm pretty sure planes don't have brakes, but as the plane flies, Turbo lifts up his hand as he proceeds to wrap an energy around the plane. Suddenly, the plane wings begin to slightly break, as suddenly the plane's engines or the flying thingamajiggies on the side of the wings will be crushed. Phew! The plane goes crashing down. He would grin as Turbo booms off at blinding speeds. Now to explain Turbo's quirk. I'm pretty sure I already gave him an energy quirk, but here's how his quirk is gonna work. Turbo has the ability to possess people, just like Inko can possess people, but Turbo also has flight, super speed, and he has the power to wrap this energy around people, places, and things. Okay? Said energy will take the forms of barriers, where Turbo is able to create barriers that he can manipulate any way he sees fit. So Turbo would land. With Turbo literally reaching the ground, he stands upward. Izuku! As suddenly, everyone on the plane was seen wrapped up in, well, feathers. They're literally wrapped in feathers, all hitting the ground perfectly as a humongous bird exploded out of the plane, with everyone holding onto its feathers. All the people then were placed down safely, where there Izuku would tell them to run. Everyone on the plane, well, who was on the plane, took off running. Luggage and all, they left that shit behind. Deku then would look forward. Who are you? My name is Turbo, and it's so good to finally meet you. Man, I missed your first birthday. I missed first 16 years of your life. Nice to meet you, nephew. I'm your uncle. Huh? He would say confused. Oh, you don't understand. Nice to meet you, nephew. I'm your uncle. What's up, nephew? I've been planning. I mean, I've been waiting to meet you, nephew, man. I couldn't wait to meet you, son. Man, look. After I beat your ass, you come to the cookout. Man, I can barbecue like a motherfucker. Just want to let you know, man. Barbecue skills elite. Shut the fuck up. Izuku rushes forward. He immediately goes in for a punch. Bruh. Weave. Bro, he proceeds to weave and smack Deku across the face with a mean punch. Deku sent flying into the sky, but he appears right above Deku and punches him back down to the ground. Deku hits the ground. As soon as he does, Deku gets up with his eyes flaring gold. Bet. As Deku rushes forward towards the man, and Turbo will boom forward towards Deku. They go in for a clash. As from here, boom, fist will clash. Here's going to be ending off part 3. Cliffhanger, had to do it to y'all. It's been a minute since I last been, getting evil with the cliffhangers, but I'm finna get real evil with them all over again. I'm finna hit y'all with some ruthless ass cliffhangers, just like I used to do back in the day. But with that being said, guys, let me know down below how you guys feel about this video. If you guys have any new ideas, please comment them down below. I really enjoy this series. It's probably one of my more fun series to record, so I'm going to continue to give y'all videos on this series because I pretty much love this one. So with that being said, deuces, guys.